What is up, you guys? It is preciouskolleena. We're back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about a very, very, very great topic. I think that everybody should be talking about right now: the pros and cons of being in the social work program, okay, slash field, okay. Although I'm not in the field yet, just being in the program, I've learned a lot. And you know, I just feel like I know a little bit of pros and cons. I do work pretty much in a field where as a social worker you could work in, so I feel like that's how I know a little bit about this, and then some other things. But before we get to this video and why we're on here today, or I'm on here today, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that has helped me reach my milestone of 130 subscribers. I think this is a great, exciting journey for me and for you guys. And speaking of that, if you're not joining the family with me, okay, or joining me on this journey of social work, of halls of inspiration, and of lifestyle, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Like this video, put in the comment section down below anything you want. Anywho, let's get into the video. So I just felt like the pros and cons of social work slash social work field is great. I think that everybody wants to talk about, it's like some people want to talk about the pros, right? The positive things about social work, and then others just want to talk about the cons. But the misconception is everybody wants to talk about the negatives about social work, right? Social work is draining, social work is this, social work is that. But nobody wants to talk about the positive things about social work, right? Because every job can be rewarding, right? Every career can be rewarding. Every career can be draining at times, right? No job is going to be perfect. No job is ever going to satisfy your needs at 100%. If you get off of work now, okay, if you're an entrepreneur, that's different, okay? But if you're working in the field and you're in college and you graduate and you're working out somewhere, not working out like you're working out lifting weights or running, right? Working out like you're working out in the field, you're going to be tired. There's going to be times you're tired. And I think that it's necessary that we talk about this. So I have a little cheat sheet, okay? So let's talk about the good things, okay? And we'll kind of go from there. So the first thing, a positive thing, right, about social work slash social work field, you guys, is you get to help people, okay? You get to help people in so many ways, right? Whether that's being a therapist, whether that's being a caseworker, there's just so many different avenues you can help people, right? And I think that's just such an exciting thing to do. Also, you get to work with different diverse populations, right? So whether you're doing your practicum or your internship, or right, you're just out in the field working, you're working with so many different populations. There's so many, whether that's developmental disabilities, whether that's you know, in the prison or jails, school social work, state, you're working for the state. There's just so many different avenues for the diverse populations that you could intern at or anything like that. So then we have the variety of employment. So, you know, when you graduate and you want to work in the field, there's so many different avenues of employment. Okay, now let's pump the brakes, okay? Because I know you guys are going to talk about me like Precious doesn't work in the field. How does she know about the different employment opportunities? Sweetheart and sweet man, I go on Indeed every so often and I check the employment opportunities at a bachelor's level, and I also work in the field of developmental disabilities, and they have a position called a program coordinator, or a Q. If you're the Q DDP, that means you have a bachelor's degree in like sociology, social work, psychology. And if you're called a program coordinator, that's when you don't have the degree and you worked your way up in the system, meaning like I'm a caregiver pretty much, or a direct support professional to sound fancy, and you worked your way up to being house manager. Then you worked your way up from being house manager to now working your way up to being a program coordinator if you don't have that degree. If you do, it's QDDP. So there's just so many different like variety of employment. I actually am friends and I network, and I know a lot of people in the field that work at different employment meaning, let's think. So yeah, like I said before, you can work for DCS, Department of Child Services, but we're not just talking about case management work. There's so many other different parts. They have like adoption program. You can work for state and work at the adoption program. They have adult protective services, right? They have you can work at hospitals. You can be a therapist. You can work for the government. Like, there's just so many different avenues. The list goes on and on and on and on, right? And you can work for the veterans. Like, there's just so many different avenues. You can work for women that are being victimized, like with their abusers. So there's just so many different avenues that you can go into social work. And I think that's great, because I love a job or a career that has like variety of opportunities. I don't want to work a job where you only have one opportunity. You can only work in this office, and this is the only office you can work at. Like, I want to be able to have different opportunities and options if I decided to go. Okay, sorry you guys, someone had called me, but anywho, back to what I was saying. Like, I love the fact that there's so many different opportunities and there's a variety of options, and with having that, there's just so many avenues you can go. You don't have to choose just one. Any social worker I know that's worked in the field, they've never honestly worked at just one, at a bachelor's level. Like, they never just worked at one job. Most of them worked at different jobs because they were trying to find their niche, right? Meaning they're trying to find what made them happy, what population satisfied them, meaning like, I love this, I love working for this population, because there's so many and you just don't know like where to start. So those are the pros. So some of the negatives, right? So in the social work program, there's a lot of papers, like a lot of papers, okay? There are a lot. And I'm emphasizing that because I'm not BSing you guys. It's a lot, okay? And they do this because in the field, when you go work in the field, you're doing a lot of paperwork. You're doing a lot of documentation, whether that's physically with paper and pen, and you're writing, or you're typing on a computer. Like, there's some companies and agencies and organizations do paper and pen and are old school, and then others do computer, and that's how they document all of the documentation. As far as work, I can't talk about that. I'm not in practicum yet, but I do start in August, and I'm waiting to hear back from the two options that I chose as my two top choices. And once I find out, I'll let you guys know. I will not be disclosing what agency I work for due to confidentiality and privacy reasons, but I can give you guys insight about like what I would do on an everyday basis, and what the what the agency entails of, and what their mission statement is, and what they're about. But anywho, back to the video. But yeah, so as far as papers and classes, like, yeah, it's a lot. Like, for every class, honestly, it's probably about, on average, most classes, for social work classes, you're going to have about 2, maybe 3 papers throughout the semester. And I know that sounds like a lot, but you get used to it, and it's kind of like, it comes second nature. I was not the best writer, but it's like, as I got deeper into the program and more advanced into the program, I became a better writer. So I'm not worried about it. I love writing now. It's enjoyable for me because it's the major I love. So anywho, so yeah, like I said, I can't talk about the other part about in the field, because I'm not in the field yet. So when I get in the field, I'll let you guys know about the part of when you're in the field and how the paperwork operates. I do know, and I hear a lot that it's a lot of paperwork, and you better be on your P's and Q's with that documentation. And what do they say? If you ain't write it down, it didn't happen. So you better write it down. Okay, next is another con is emotional stress. In the social work field, right? And I've learned this from working and like learning in the field, and also me working, in different populations just in life, right? You deal with different things, and things that come along with that is emotional stress. So when I mean emotional stress, like, your emotions are all over the place and you're stressed because you're dealing with so many traumatic different experiences. You could be dealing with clients that have been victimized of sexual abuse, have been victimized as sex trafficking, being molested. They're perpetrators. And I'm not judging nobody, okay? I ain't judging nobody. I can't judge nobody. I'm in a social work field, but this is just things that could be traumatic for people. Abuse and neglect in children, right? Seeing the abuse and neglect that children have been being victimized to, and they have it all on their body physically, and you see that, and it could traumatize you. So it can be very, very, very stressful. So that's why they always say, make sure you make some time for yourself, right? And you know what you can handle and what you can't handle. And that's why it's imperative that when you apply to a job, you know, you might ask, hey, what do I do on an everyday basis? What does your company entail of? What are you guys about? Because that gives you insight to know what the company is about and what you would be doing on an everyday basis before you actually start the job. But yeah, and the last one is the schedule can be irregular. Okay, so I can't really speak so much on the work atmosphere, like in the social work field, like when you work in the career. But what I can say is the company I work for, working with the developmentally disabled, I love my clients so much. There's different levels of the developmentally disabled that I work with, which could be high functioning, low functioning, middle functioning, right? But anywho, your schedule can be irregular because I'm gonna speak about school first because I'm in school, so I can talk about that. School can be a lot, okay? And then put on top of that working, and then put on top of that school, right? So with school, it seems to me the further you get along in the program, the later the classes are. So last semester was my first time ever having a class be from like 6 to 8:45 at night, okay? Then this semester it's the same way, 6 to 8:45 at night. Sometimes we get out early, like 8 o'clock. Sometimes 7:30 if we're lucky, but most times it's 8 o'clock. And then, yeah, but that's that. And then next semester, I'll be a senior. So classes will be later. Some classes will be from 6 to 8:45. I think I saw one, you had an option of taking this class online, or if you didn't take it online, it was hybrid, meaning you take it every other week, and it would be from 7 to 9:45. So I opted from doing hybrid, and I said, I'm going to take it online. I'm not going to class that late. Like, I can't do it. When I do go for my master's, I'll have to sacrifice and do that. But right now, no, I'll take that class online. And as far as your schedule being irregular in the field, like I said, I work right along with my program coordinator. And just knowing like what their job entails of, it's a lot. It's pretty much case management, but everywhere works differently. But with my job, when you're a program coordinator or QDDP, the only difference is, once again, program coordinator, you don't have a degree and you've worked your way up into the company. And then the other one, the QDDP, you have the degree in sociology, social work, or psychology. And with that, your schedule can be very irregular because you are the company I work for. When you are at that type of level of employment, you have to be on call. And when you are on call, you could be on call for a day, a week. It really just depends on the policies of each organization or agency. And with my job that I work at, not for me, because I don't work at that level of employment, I'm just a caregiver, but for my higher boss, you have to pretty much, long story short, go to each. Okay, so let's say someone, okay, so I'm sorry, let me stop. So you're on call. Okay, let's say that you're on call for one day. Let's say they just do a couple days out of the month you're on call. With my job, when you're on call because either maybe someone got hurt really, really bad, and you're calling on call to let them know so that they can be expecting the paperwork for you to bring to the at the office, and you have to put it in the Dropbox. There's a Dropbox. And whenever someone gets hurt, a client ever gets hurt, even if it's just like cutting their finger or something, you have to fill out a incident report, injury form. Oh my gosh. And then you have to notify your house manager, notify your QDDP or PC, and then you have to, when you get off of work, you have to go put it in the Dropbox because state mandated you have to report it within 24 hours, and you have to have the paperwork within 24 hours. So yeah. And anywho, so yeah, so whether someone gets hurt or, right, if someone calls off. Now the call off system, that's the part that's hard, because as a Q or a PP, as a QDDP or PC, right? Regardless, it doesn't matter now because we're not getting into the specifics. When you're on call, if someone calls off and there's nobody in the house that works at that site that can cover it, there's no house manager or anybody else that could work it, and you're on call, you have to work it. You may have never been trained at this site. You've never done any of the paperwork over there. You may have to lift clients, right? You may have to lift them because they cannot physically like move around. You have to help lift them. They may have behaviors whatever it is, like, you have to go work that site. So that's what I mean by working in the field. Every company, agency, organization is different, but like I said, some are like that, where you have to go work in the field. And that can be difficult for some people, especially like if you've never been trained at that site and you don't know what you're doing, and maybe it's not a 2-person site, meaning you need 2 people to work that shift, each shift at the house. If it's just a 1-person shift, 1 person per each shift, that's going to be hard, because you're like, you don't know what to do, you don't know how to, you know, you're trained how to lift clients, but every client, you know, and their comfortability is different when you lift them. So that can be difficult, and that's what I mean by, you know, schedules can be irregular. And honestly, with me for school, like, the only classes that are usually like the earliest time now, since I'm like later in the program, a junior now, I'll be a senior in August. I think my earliest time of my class is like 1 o'clock, 1 to 3:45. Like any electives or anything, they may be earlier, but any social work classes, they're late, either 1 to 3:45, 6 to 8:45, or 7 to 9:45. But so far it's just been 6 to 8:45, and then 1 to 3:45. So, but I hope you guys liked this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was very educational for you, and just, you know, eye-opening, and just give you a little bit of the pros and cons, you know what I'm saying? But I love social work. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. I love the program. If you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button. If you've been binge watching my videos, you want to watch more, you want to see what else I have in store for you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Like I said, like this video, comments, and share it to others. Maybe if you don't like this video, or maybe you know others that, you know what I'm saying, would benefit from this video, send it to them. Baby, won't you come my way? But this time you're gonna send it their way. I'm not no singer, okay? I'm not a pro anyway. Maybe I am, I don't know. But yeah, so anywho, I hope you guys have a great day, and you guys enjoy your day, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.